Well, good evening, friends. DW Pastor Barry here. It is Thursday. In fact, it's the last Thursday of November 2024. And as a matter of fact, it is Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you. I realize it's going to be 2025 in January when you first get to see this video, but I want you to know that I was thinking about you, the viewer, on this Thanksgiving Day in America of 2024. It's been a good one. I am still stuffed full. It's after 9 p.m. at night. We've had a very full day today. Had a house full of people, kids and the like, both young and old. It was a great success, and people were here from 10 a.m. all the way to pretty much 8 p.m. So, basically 10 hours of company pretty much. So we are tired and we've been working a lot. Yesterday was really crazy busy for work, but the Lord blessed us. It's been one of our best work days, and we're looking forward to many more. We're in the Daily Wisdom for Men devotional here this evening on this beautiful Thanksgiving night. It's cold here. I wish it were cold enough to snow, but it's not. But I'll take the cooler weather all the same. This is January the 10th. This one's called Being Real with God. Let's read in chapter 9 in Mark. I will decide in a moment which verses we are going to read. But in the NIV version, they've listed verse 24, which tells us, "Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, 'I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief.'" I know this passage well. I can't quote it verbatim, but I know exactly what happens. So let's draw our attention to Mark chapter 9. And let's see. Let's start at verse 14 and we'll read on and then we'll see how it goes. "Shouts out to my parents, God bless you. To my church family, happy Thanksgiving. To all my teammates, to any new viewers who might have jumped on board in 2025. It'll be this year. Actually, this year is 2024, but when you watch this year will be 2025, if you follow me. I'm probably going to have at least 2 or 3 devotionals that I will do in advance that won't be shown until 2025. And a lot can happen from now until then. That's why the church needs to be in prayer and fasting. The healing of a boy with an unclean spirit. Forgive my nasally voice. I'm still fighting this junk. It's been a week and a half of this garbage now. I am getting better. It's just taking its time. When he came to his other disciples, he saw a great crowd around them, and the scribes disputing with them. Immediately, when all the people saw him, they were greatly amazed, and running to him, greeted him. He asked the scribes, 'What are you debating with them?' One in the crowd answered, 'Teacher, I brought you my son, who has a mute spirit. Wherever it takes hold on him, it dashes him to the ground, and he foams at the mouth and gnashes with his teeth and becomes rigid. And I told your disciples so that they would cast it out, but they could not.'" They weren't able to get it out. He answered, "O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him to me." Now, the way you read that, it's like Jesus is annoyed or he's frustrated with them to some degree. And I suppose he is. So they brought the boy to him. When he saw him, immediately the spirit dashed him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming at the mouth. He asked his father, Jesus asked the father of the boy, "How long has it been since it came to him?" In other words, how long has this spirit been bothering your son? For how many years? How old was he, He said, "From childhood. Often it has thrown him into the fire and into the water to kill him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." Jesus said, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out with tears, "Lord, I believe, help my unbelief." That's the key verse. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit. He didn't say, "I rebuke you." That's not what he said. He said, "You have to go. You cannot be here." That was the rebuke. So when Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying to it, this is what he said, "You mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more." Of course, Jesus didn't need to say in Jesus' name because he's Jesus, right? All right. Again, this is called Being Real with God. The author tells us, it's amazing how desperation can often bring out the best in people. When the chips are down and when our backs are against the wall, pick your own cliche here, it says, we're often forced to get real with one another and with God. The man who spoke the words in today's verse was at a point where he had no choice but to turn to Jesus for help. He apparently knew enough about Jesus to know that he had miraculously healed many people. But it is equally apparent that he had his doubts as to whether Jesus could help him. Jesus responded to this man's kernel of faith and to his honesty. He healed the man's son and then used the incident to teach his followers some things about real, mountain-moving, demon-repelling faith. Jesus repeatedly and consistently taught his followers that they could do anything if they had faith. Those same promises hold true for us today. But in those times when we wonder if we have enough faith, when we wonder if God can reach down and make a difference in our lives, our best first step might be to confess honestly, I do believe, Lord, help me overcome my unbelief. When I heard that word desperation, it made me think of something that we first learned in deliverance 11 years ago. The desperate get delivered. And I also believe quite often it's the desperate who get healed, or the desperate who come to the Lord believing with everything because they have no other way to solve their problem. So they put all their faith in God. God, you have to do it because I have no choice. And their faith is stronger, and God sees that they meet the conditions, whether it's the faith, if they're living right, etc., etc. God has his reasons. People can even meet conditions and God still won't do it because it's not his will. That preaches hard against healing ministries, which I'm in a healing ministry, but I've seen many good people, very sincere Christian people, get healing prayers and then they ended up dying. I've seen it happen. I don't have all the answers to why God allowed it, but I just think that sometimes it's their time to be called home. Sometimes that happens. Like I said, a lot of healing ministries won't teach that, but I'm here to teach the reality of things. I believe in God's healing. I've seen the miraculous move of God. I've seen him heal people. I've seen the dead raised. I've seen fingers grow out and legs and spines move and backs healed. I saw so many backs healed in the Philippines. I know God can do it, but sometimes he doesn't do things and we don't know why. But we have to trust that he knows the answer, and maybe one day we'll find out, and maybe we won't. Sometimes it's just the mysteries of God. But anyway, again, I want to say I hope you've had a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving 2024, and I will definitely see you in the next Daily Wisdom for Men devotional.